Hello and welcome back to Hardworking Man. Today we're going to talk about a couple different things as I clean out the woodyard for the woodyard expansion. I had to do this sooner than I planned because, as you can see, my test for selling green firewood did not work. It was a miserable fail. It's tied my dump trailer up for weeks. I did not have one hit on this 4-face cord of green oak for $450, which is getting a full face cord free compared to what I normally sell it for. I can sell camp firewood for 150 bucks a face cord here, and I couldn't sell this oak, and I'm going to tell you why a little bit later. But because of that, I now have to go move a bunch of IBC totes. Then I'm going to have to fell a few trees to build a firewood bin for camp firewood, because on the dyno over here I picked up some wood. It was supposed to be a lot of silver maple and a little bit of cottonwood. It ended up being mostly cottonwood. I took it off the trailer, I put it straight on the dyna, but now I have nowhere to put it. I was going to process it into the dump trailer so I could put it in a bin later, but because the dump trailer's not empty and my bin for the oak isn't ready, I have to make a bin for the camp firewood so I can get it off the dyna so I can move the dyna. All kinds of stuff going on. It's a muddy mess. We got IBC totes to move. I'm going to talk about how I use them, how I put the lids on them. I'm going to show you the plan for the woodyard, and we're finally going to get to work on the woodyard expansion, get it done so we can process all of our oak, all of our camp firewood, get ahead for next year. So first thing I have to do is get all these IBC totes out of here, because I got to fell these 2 trees, and this is where I'm going to build my camp firewood bin. It's not going to be as big as the oak bin, and I wasn't planning on doing it, but given the circumstances I have right now, I need to get something set up to get that camp firewood put into. Now, over here is where the larger woodyard is going to be. I still got some trees to fell, a lot of groundwork to do, but the big oak bin is going to be behind me over here, and then I'm going to open up storage back into the woods further. So I got a lot of trees to fell, a lot of work to do, but you're never going to get it done if you don't get started. So I'm going to get these totes out of here, show you guys how I put the lids on them, what's worked and what's failed over the years, and then we'll be ready to drop these 2 trees and get the bin set up. All right, I'm actually going to do something I normally don't, and that's prepare ahead of time. Before I accidentally back over the East Oak fire pit that Rachel loves, I'm going to get it out of here. I was just going to leave it there and work around it, but I'm easily distracted, and the last thing I need to do is run it over with the tractor. So let me get that moved, then we'll start grabbing these totes. All right, let's talk real quick about why I had 0 luck selling my green firewood. It's different for everybody. Russ from Willie's Firewood, he sells only green firewood, and it works great for him. Brad from Firewood at the Furnace, he tried the green firewood thing or contemplated it, and it didn't really work for him. It doesn't work for me, and here's why. I sell premium firewood. It's seasoned, it's clean, it's cut precisely, and I get double what a lot of people in this area buy it for. So when I put in that work, I put in that effort, I get a big return on my investment. I'm not going to sell green firewood for a whole lot cheaper because my labor is what is a lot of the cost. And making green firewood is a little bit less labor intensive because you can just put it straight into the dump trailer and deliver it. But it still takes a lot of labor. You got to acquire the wood, you got to run the equipment, you got all your expenses. So me trying to sell my green firewood for my premium pricing just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to scrap that idea completely. It doesn't work for me. It might work for you. I think the home heating sector is going to be better for green firewood sales versus what I sell mostly for, and that's entertainment, cooking, campfires, fireplaces, just, you know, the burns that people do for fun. Now, one of the big things that helps me sell premium firewood is keeping it clean, getting it nice and dry, and a huge part to that is these IBC totes. Obviously, the more firewood I process, I'm going to have to do these bulk bins, but I'm going to have pallets on the bottom, keep it off the ground. What I love about the IBC totes, besides the portability that we're showing you right now, is you can take the bladders out of them and make lids. Now, I've made lids. I've put them on here, thrown weight on them, thrown logs on them. The wind will whip, it'll blow them off. I've used metal strapping, which I bought a bunch of this. It's just a safety wire. It's a steel wire. I bought a few rolls off eBay years ago, and I've used it for everything, and I love it. I don't have much left, and I can't find it anymore. But what I would do is drill a hole in the tote, twist the wire around it, and then just twist it to the IBC tote. I tried doing just opposite corners. When you get a lot of wind, it'll just tilt it off, I guess you could say, even if it's tight. I've tried rope, I've tried bungee cords. This steel wire seems to be the best for me, but you have to do it on all four corners, especially when you're where we're at right now, which is across from a big field. The wind whips and it'll just pull these covers off. Now, I don't store my wood up here permanently. This is temporary. We're going to tear up the yard because it's muddy, but we don't want our wood up here in front of our house. Rachel just doesn't like the way it looks. That's why we're building the wood yard off to the side and in the back. But with the wind whipping, my 2-wire tie system failed. Now, luckily for me, we are getting 220 or 240 put in the garage right now, and the electrician had a bunch of extra wire, the aluminum wire. So I simply stripped it down, cut it to length, and then I can just peel this aluminum wire off and use that as opposed to that steel cable I was. I hope it's going to hold good. We're going to find out, but tie all four corners, get some wire, some cable, something to tie them down, and do it right or do it twice, because I've had to go out after windstorms and replace these tops. It seems like a pain, but it keeps your wood clean. It helps it to stay premium so I can get that top dollar for it. So let me get the rest of these totes moved, and then we'll talk about why we're felling those trees and show you the big picture of this operation. Definitely not doing the yard any favors. I wish the ground was frozen. All right, so you can see here is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. This wood's been out here for a while. This is what we did in our full cord challenge, and it's been uncovered. And this stuff is just covered in leaves and debris. Like, all that stays out of it when you get these totes knocked down and you put a lid on them. So once they're up there, I'll get lids on them. I'm not gonna make you guys watch that, but all the leaves and stuff that gets in here, that's what you're able to keep out and just keep a cleaner product by putting those tops on the firewood. All right, so if you guys follow the channel, you know I used to have a Coyote RX 7320. It was a huge tractor. I loved it. The lift capacity was awesome. It had auto leveling bucket that I loved. It was just a little big. I had that computer problem with it where it would quit moving forward randomly, and I picked up the Coyote NS 6010. This thing can lift about 3,000 pounds as opposed to the RX 7320, which has around 4,400 pounds. I definitely missed the auto leveling bucket. I definitely missed the lift capacity, but the maneuverability, the trailer ability, everything else about this Coyote, I absolutely love it. I also love having a diesel fuel transfer tank because I'm low on fuel. I don't have to get 5-gallon cans, don't have to run to the gas station every once in a while. I've got diesel here, I'll get it filled up. I want another tank for wreck fuel because that is a pain, as much of that as I go through. So let's get fueled up, get them last few totes moved, and then show you what the plan is in that area. So these bladders, these totes, they're useful for everything. I cover up this so it's not out in the weather. There I've got a tote with all my old motor oil in it. Like, I'd put everything in these, the bags of mulch or fuel that were, the bags of mulch or the potting soil that Rachel uses. Like, these things are so useful when you can get them at a decent price. I will say this mud out here, I hate snow and mud for firewood. It's just such a pain. And I'm absolutely destroying my yard. Rachel's out of town, so she won't see until she gets home, but she probably won't be super thrilled. Man, when I put this thing in high and took off with all that mud, I flung it all over. I'm probably covered in it. It's on my mirror here. It's all over the tractor. I guess that's one good thing about the warmer weather. I could get this thing in and get it washed. I just did the 50-hour service on it. Just hit 50 hours. And this thing's only regened one time, and that was a little over 40 hours. So, I mean, I hate the regen, but at least it doesn't do it a ton. There we go. We're gassed back up, ready to roll. A lot of cleanup to do out here, an absolute ton, but it's gonna be so nice when my plan all comes together. I just need the time to get it all done. You guys are gonna love it. So this IBC tote is one that I built that'll hold a full half cord but man, it holds it. My old tractor could lift it. This one will with the right wood in it, but when you dump it into the dump trailer from that high, it slams. So I probably won't use it for that anymore, but I have another idea for this. Now when I get the longer pieces like this that come off the processor, because we're still learning it, I'll just toss those to the side and we'll put those in our own boiler. In fact, this one's a little long too. That's one thing with processors. You make way more wood, but it's not the same premium quality without a little more added work. All right, so when we did the full cord challenge, we definitely went way over because these are 330-gallon totes, so 4 of them loose tossed is a full cord. We mounted it up. I've still got these mounted, and we've got this much stacked in the double tote over here. Now another thing, we just put the 4 totes and we fed it into all of them. You can see all the slash that you get when you're running a multi-split wedge on a processor. We'll burn all that in our boiler, so it's not a waste for us, but you definitely get a lot of it. All right, what do you guys think? Am I gonna be in trouble when Rachel gets home and sees what I did to the yard? She's gonna have to trust me. It's a process. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. Mud season, man, tearing this yard up. All right, we got all the totes out of there. Let me go show you the trees we're taking down and why we need them down, and then what type of bin we're gonna build. All right, so one thing I'm gonna have to address in this wood yard is this mud, because we have a lot of muddy season here in Michigan and this isn't gonna work. So I'm gonna have to do some landscape work, I guess, some excavation and get some more stone in here. But now for this part of the wood yard. So I've always piled wood up in here. As you can see by the old rotten pallets here that I'm gonna take to the dump, I gotta clean this out. But this tree here leans right over top of the wood pile and gives it lots of shade and all the leaves fall in it. So that one's gonna come down. Then this one is going to come down. This is just, I believe, a tulip poplar. That also shades it out. So that's gonna come down. That'll go right back into this bin. This bin, I'm gonna put 2 stacks of pallets down on the ground, and then I'm gonna use the T-posts and the welded wire fencing because I have quite a bit of it from when I used to plant a lot of trees. I would put those around it to stop the deer from eating it. So that'll give me a pretty good area here to put campfire wood in, and then as we get the yard opened up over there, we'll build the oak bin. I got a couple ideas I'm gonna try with the bins to try to make them, I guess, more efficient, make them work better, and we'll see how it works. But getting this done, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Sometimes stuff gets worse before it gets better. Thanks for watching, hardworking man, guys, and have a great day.